radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Well. Good evening, Fade to Black. How you doing? Today's Thursday, November 6th. Wow, 2025. How you doing? It's Fade to Black, and a little uncomfortable silence right there. Kind of weird, huh? Yeah, that's what happens when you have some people working off site, and I am here and clicking, and they're clicking and thing. And most times it's pretty smooth. Yeah, most times. But there you go. Yeah. I often say I don't freak out anymore. I don't. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? All right. So tonight is our once a month, which we were going to do next week, but we're doing it this week. Our once a month AMA AJA, where you get to ask me anything. That's right. You get to ask me anything. Post your questions in all caps and pop it up in the live chat. Very simple to do. And I ask everybody to do the all caps thing because, quite frankly, I can't read. And looking at all of the text and chat and posts and everything, and I used to do 3 screens while I had somebody out of the studio highlighting stuff and sending it to me. It's impossible to do 3 things, but anyway, I used to do it that way and kind of whittled it down because I couldn't get to all the questions, and there were people at the end. So you know, that have been waiting for a while, and things I don't even get close to doing it. So we've just filtered it down to this, and it's just one chat room and everything else. So, but as I scroll, all right, what catches my eye is all caps. So you put it in all caps, and you've got a much better chance of getting your question read and answered. So let's see here. Yeah. So post everything up in all caps. All right. Oh, geez. What a crazy world. Oh man, I like to binge comedies and science fiction too as well. Like I just watched the new Fantastic Four, which was not that good, and neither was Thunderbolts, by the way. It was okay, but I do that to escape, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing. So I do it to escape, and I can go into, especially if I'm binging a TV series, right? Or I can tie up some time. But let's just use a movie as an example. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 2 hours. And for those 2.5 hours, 2 hours, if it's a good movie, if it's worthy, decent script, decent whatever, enough to not let your attention, go elsewhere. If you stay locked in on the film, you can go for 2 hours of not tripping out on the world. Yeah. So you get done with the movie, right? And you're like, wow, that was pretty good. The credits are rolling, and and you backtrack off of the movie, and all of a sudden it's like, whoo, oh man. Oh, I'm still on planet Earth. Holy crap. Everything is still going on. Quick, find another movie. Find something else to watch right now. Right now. Just find anything. It's so funny. And that's I am not kidding. It's not the only reason, because I love movies, right? It's not the only reason I do it, but it's a good reason to do it. And just to get distracted. What I do after the show, and I'm just lining up questions right now. The minutes after a show, let me break this down for you briefly. Show ends at 9. Used to end at 10. Now it ends at 9 Pacific time. So show ends at 9. Immediately after the show, well, there's stuff that has to get done and stuff is sent out. I've got a few people that work on edits and upload and do all that stuff. So all of that's got to get done. All right. So that gets done. I'm usually done with the studio between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. All right. Studio gets shut down. I go from there. Now, at that point, I've already been working with pre-production and the show and prep and everything else for probably 6 or 8 hours. And so and 10 o'clock rolls around and I'm still thinking about the show. I'm still adrenaline and everything else. I rustle up something to eat. And I do that and try to relax, like trying to get my mind off the show, because if I don't, otherwise my mind just keeps moving. Okay. I've been doing this for way too many years and it stays there. It stays there and it keeps it. It's insane. So I've developed a few techniques to unwind my head. Like after the show tonight, an AMA, that's one of the hardest things for my mind to deal with. All right. Now just think about anything else that is like this. Thank you, Randy. Anything else that is like this, if you were doing this, answering 100, 150 questions in 2 hours in rapid fire, where would your head space be after that? Because that's what I've slowly figured out ways to deal with. And so I eat, and then for me to go to sleep, I talk about this a lot, but you have to understand, I have to listen to something. My brain has to get disconnected. So if I could stay up all night and watch TV, well, then you're staying awake. But I've got to disconnect my brain. So I will listen to a book on tape. I'll listen to a presentation. I'll listen to some physicists interview each other. I'll do something like that in the dark, only so I can listen to that and not listen to my head. It's insane. I can't imagine the people on this planet. I pick a country, it doesn't matter. This one, another country, how they don't freak out. How do you not freak out? It doesn't matter. Pick a country, man. It more so than ever. And you can, how do I say this? You can point to other countries that are exactly the same mentally as we are here in the United States. And you can go back at any point in history and go, man, that was the craziest time in the United States. Yeah, 1960s was pretty rowdy. Yeah, there was things going on. There was things going on. 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, Great Depression, plagues, fevers, flus, world wars, right? I can comfortably say with confidence, right now is the craziest this planet has ever been, certainly this country. It's insane. So how do you get off of that distraction? I mean, how do you get out? That's what I do. I binge, I watch movies, ride my Harley, and to get to sleep, I listen to books on tape. And when it's all over and I've got to face reality, every day I do the news, right? And I'm looking at the news, and I'm Renee and I putting all of that stuff together. And I'm going through the news. I'm just like, holy crap. Holy crap. All right. What is this? Timothy Adams. How did this get in here? Did somebody else send this to me? Did somebody else send this to me? How did that pop up on the screen? See, all right. Okay. Timothy, I guess you're going to get the first question. Timothy Adams, how about all those celestial objects out there? Is it just our perspective set and value of scale? I think it is built. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's a strong question. I can tell you this. I can tell you this. We are right now. Okay, I'm ready to go. We are right now just beginning to understand how big is big. How big is big? Because two keywords, micro and macro, right? And so quantum and quantum physics. So you have physics, classical physics, you throw something and you see, a celestial object is moving, that's physics. You can see it, you can measure it, you can do that. Okay. We had a pretty good grasp on that until 1920. Quantum comes into play. And quantum comes into play. Now, that is the very small. Most of it you don't even see. And at all, by the way. And we started to flip that in the other direction and started thinking more about what the universe was. And we thought the universe was static, and we now know that it's not. And that happened in 1922 to 1928 with Edwin Hubble. But our telescopes got bigger, our knowledge got bigger, and we started to realize how big things were and how many galaxies were right around us. And we're observing that. And then it all changed. And now, not only, I was speaking about this earlier today with Christina Gomez. Brian Cox said yesterday or last week, he goes, there's 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. Well, Brian just a couple of years ago said 500 billion galaxies. Now he's got this up to 2 trillion. And now we understand that each one of those galaxies has, 100 billion, a trillion stars, which means over 1 trillion planets in each galaxy, that there are 2 trillion. It's like, wait a minute. That is a lot of celestial objects, Tim. And to start to think about how big these numbers are and how much is out there, it melts your head. It absolutely melts it. Now there is, it started to heat up a couple of years ago, and it seems like I mentioned it before physics did, but nobody listens to me. So it didn't come from me, but we certainly thought about this at the same time. I probably mentioned this 5 years ago or more, but there's a new conversation happening in the world of science that maybe there is no end or edge to the universe, our universe. Maybe it's infinite. The numbers, some of the numbers, if you look at it and you interpret them correctly, the way that you want to see them, and start putting this together, it fits. It works inside of the equations. It's like, hold on a minute. Now, I'm not going to get into a big science or physics discussion, but big is already big. And objects and contemplating that and thinking about that, pondering that, it's insane. And then you want to take it to the next level? Infinite? I say it all the time. Do you know how big infinite is? You don't. You truly don't. Now, what does that mean to everything else? Right? Exact duplicates of me, of yourself out there. Well, if it's infinite, then there's infinite duplicates of you. Think about that. How much life is out there? Well, infinite. Think about that. So that question, Timothy, is a huge question, and it goes to the next level. If you just stop and think for a second what all of that means. All right? Great question. Great way to start off the show. I don't even know how your question got in here. All right, next question. Jimmy, what three things do you actively do every day to improve your self-awareness? You rated yourself a 5 on a 10 scale last AMA. I did? I don't remember that. I rated myself 5 out of 10. I rated myself 10 out of 10 on anything. I don't understand the question. Let me see if okay. See, I rate myself a 1 out of 10 here. Just 3 things you actively do every day to improve yourself, self-awareness. Yeah, I guess I'm not that self-aware because I don't have an answer to that. I mean, we're all self-aware if if our heart is beating and our brain is getting oxygen. But yeah, I don't really think about that too much. I suppose I don't think about it at all, but I would say subconsciously, unconsciously, that dang it, I just try to do the right thing and try to be aware of that at all moments. All right. I don't always obey the speed limit, but I always try to do the right thing. I do. Somebody called me the other day. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything specific here. I want to get into it. I get a text. No, I made the phone call. Get a text. Jimmy, call me. So, wow, this is kind of out of the blue. So I make the phone call. And it was a friend saying, I need some help with the rent. I said, okay. How much? And like when, today. I think the phone call came in on the 1st. What is today? The 6th. Yeah, that's about right. I think it came in on the 1st or the text. And how much? And the number was thrown out there. Well, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be a tough ask. It's got to be. I don't know if I could do it. Call somebody up, hey man, and throw that kind of number out there. But, and this person, and I really want you to listen to what I'm saying. This person wanted to plead in a panic their case, and obviously upset enough to send a text and have to ask for that. And that's hard. I said, just stop right there. I'll give you the money. And I just wanted to lower the temperature, the phone call and the panic and the thing and the, just stop. Well, that's a version of self-awareness. And let me explain. You have to look at the moment for what it is right there. Right there. Just stop. And that's called doing the right thing. And oh man. And that's what and the next day, I get this thank you and I get this and I get that. And yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Made me feel good. But that's a relief. Not for the person I gave the money to. It was for me. Just how cool is it that first off that I can do that, but second, how cool is it that I frigging listen and I don't shut somebody down? because we've all been in those positions and have been shut down. How cool is it for that person to hear a yes? The gift was mine. It was mine. And that's called being self-aware in yourself, what is going on, observe everything, what is happening, listen. All right? I'm not rich. No, I don't even want to come off that way. Don't think like that. But I'm okay. Person making this phone call and this text to me is not. So that's what you do. All right. Next question. Let's see here. Oh, this is from Renee. Renee, Jimmy, do you have a favorite episode of MTV Unplugged? I do. With a rock band, even better. Mine was Scorpions. Oh, yeah, that was pretty good. That stands up. I'm going with like the Orig. I'm going to go with Nirvana. That Nirvana, oh, man. I'm going Nirvana. So many of that stuff was good. You know, Great White, Warrant, just so I can go on and on. So good. The Great White one was really good though, and that was shockingly good. But anyway, I'm going with Nirvana. I'm going with Nirvana on that one. Oh, John Asai says Alice in Chains, which was also very good. All right. Chris, how you doing, Chris? Chris, hi, Jimmy. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Elisa Lam case. Oh, Elisa Lam. There was a hotel here at the Cecil Hotel. Okay. She died under mysterious circumstances at the haunted Cecil Hotel, which is in downtown Los Angeles. I assume you know about the case. I do know about that case. That was a huge case here in LA. For those of you that don't know, now there's something to that case that is unexplained, not understood. She was found in the water tank on the top of the hotel. Now when she went missing, she was living in the hotel, and when she went missing, they searched the hotel. They did everything. They looked all over but they never searched the water tank. Creepiest part, a lot of creepy parts about this, but anyway, the hotel guests are taking showers in that water, drinking that water, and her body was floating in that tank. So anyway, they eventually find her. They went back and looked at the surveillance footage, and this is what made this whole case crazy. She was filmed inside of the elevator, freaking out like somebody was following her, and she was hiding from somebody, and she was looking for somebody, and ended up, I don't know, she was hiding from this person, managed to climb up the giant, huge, she's a little Asian woman, girl, but she managed to somehow scale up the side of that, and it had a lid on the top of it and everything, and she got inside. I don't know if she was hiding. I don't know. Maybe nobody knows. All of the circumstances around her case are mysterious, and that surveillance footage is some of the creepiest stuff that you can see. It's like she was seeing a ghost or something. Yeah, it was bizarre. Yeah, the Cecil Hotel. It's still there too, man. You cannot go by the Cecil Hotel and not think about that case. All right, let's see here. What's up next? Delta VR. Hey, Jimmy, did you ever hear about the UFO sighting that started in Kokomo and flying over Grissom? Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Debbie Cobble talked about that on the show. She filmed part of it. Yeah, that's a crazy case. Grissom Air Force Base is Grissom still open? I don't even know. That's in Indiana. And Kokomo is just north of Indianapolis. And how far is Kokomo from Grissom? Let's see here. How far is Kokomo from Grissom? I'm going to look right now. Let's see here. Okay, so there's Kokomo. Got it. All right. Grissom Air Force Base. How many miles is that? Let's see. 5 miles? Yeah, it's pretty close. Yeah, it's about what I was saying. I was going to say 10 miles, between 5 and 10 miles. And now it's an Air Force Reserve base. There it is, Grissom. Pretty big base, by the way. Pretty big base. And that's where the UFOs were sighted, between Kokomo and, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. If you go back and you go to one of the Debbie Cobble interviews I did with her over the years, I don't remember exactly which one, but she lives in Kokomo. She lives in Kokomo now. I was just with her the other day, on my birthday, not the other day, 3 weeks ago. So yeah. Crazy case, big case, all over the news, covered on the news. All the local law enforcement, the local media. Yeah, that was a pretty big case. That was a pretty big case. Thank you for that, Delta. Let's see. Let's keep this going. Tonight, I should say, is our AMA AJA, where you get to ask me anything. It's all simple to do. Post your questions in all caps over in our chat, and I will get to them. This is from MWL. Jimmy, what is the single most important scientific question researchers should be asking about UFOs and UAPs in 2026? Wow, these are good questions tonight. Great way to start off the show. The single most important question, the single most important scientific question. I mean, are you asking this of ET? Is science asking this amongst themselves? Are they asking themselves scientific questions? What's the single most important scientific question researchers should be asking about UFOs and UAPs in 2026? Man, there's like 50. There is like 50. I'm going to go, you know what? Let's not beat around the bush. Is it, if it's researchers asking this, because we've had a tradition of a transition of different types of sightings and things, is it all wormhole based? Right? Einstein-Rosen bridge. Is that what, is there something like that happening? You look at 3-Eye Atlas, it could be something on the outside of it. It could be working its way to a wormhole, an entrance. I don't know. But that's what is that what is going on? Yeah. I brought this up with Isaac Arthur the other day, and also with Lawrence Krauss, maybe somebody else. But I think about this a lot, and I brought this up in the last few weeks a few times. Why don't we see any evidence of interstellar trading and stuff? ET, just like a trade, a freeway that's in frequent use between two star systems, string of light, ship. Well, that's an honest question to ask. If you think that the objects are like ours, right? Burning fuel out of the ass end of a craft for propulsion. Why aren't we seeing traces of that? Well, maybe that's not how they're doing it. They're just looking for the wrong thing, because we're always putting ourselves in how we look. We see you see Elon Musk, you see SpaceX and Apollo and rockets. That's what space shuttle, rockets, engines, rockets, flame. And that's probably not how it's going down. So that should be the main scientific question. why is it that we don't see anything until it's already here? Yeah. Yep. What is going on? That's strong. Best audience in the world. And I'm not just saying that. Jimmy, word is Philip Corso, day after Roswell, had a boss, Arthur Trudeau, that is true, who had his name on the patent for the night vision invention used in military devices from Bill Burns. Is this true? I have never heard that. I've never heard that. So I don't know where that rumor's coming from. I've got that book, and I've read that book many, many, many times. I've interviewed Bill Burns back in the day about this, and I've talked to so many people about. I've never heard that Trudeau held the patent for night vision. It would seem that, man, wouldn't Trudeau have been dead by the time that rolled around? Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I do not know. I do not. I've never heard that. So somebody before the end of the show, look that up and send it to me. I would like to know more about it. And that's what is this? So many questions. And that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. What is the best and silliest product you have promoted over the years? What's the silliest? What's the best? The best was Get the Tea. Love that stuff. No, well, of course, River Moon Coffee. Get the Tea was really good. And the reason why Get the Tea went bye-bye, divorce. Yeah. Yeah, the owners of the company. I don't even know can I say this? It's been too many years. They split, and that's all I'm going to say. I can't say anything more than that. And it just came down to I supported the company because of who introduced me to the company, the previous owner. I have no interest in the new ownership. It was built on relationships. Love the product, but I don't want to get paid, from somebody that I just don't like. I have principles, man. I have principles. I have people all the time. Every day. Knock on wood. Every day I say no. I say no to everything. Jimmy, can we do this? Can you mention this? Can you do this? We'll send you this. We'll do this. We'll do this. No, not interested. Yeah, but no, don't care. I don't need the money. I don't need it. I don't don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to sell out. I'm going to show you guys something. I'm not going to sell out. No. Okay. So what's the silliest product? Best product was Get the Tea. Besides, of course, River Moon Coffee. But there was a lot of cool things. Silliest one. I had this thing for a minute. It was some kind of ozone creator. I was a little fan. I'd keep it here in the studio. And I liked it. I liked the smell of ozone. And so I had them running throughout the house. I don't use them anymore. And I don't know, I don't know. An ozone creator. Now, it did what it was supposed to do, and it ozoned the crap out of everything for sure. But in the end, I just felt like, for some people, I don't know. Maybe ozone's a benefit. I don't know. It definitely created ozone. After I just unplugged them, they're in some cabinet now somewhere. I'm not sure I felt any different. I'm a big fan of flashlights. Everybody knows that. Like right in front of me, here's a flashlight. Here's a flashlight. I've got more. If I just dig deeper, here's another one. There's a mag light. Love my mag light, by the way. So I have flashlights all around me. If I just move stuff around, there's another flashlight. And I got this new one. You ready? Check this thing out. Now, see, this company should get a hold of me, but they're probably in China. They're probably in China. This flashlight is called, I can't tell. I call it G5. I think it says G9. I thought it was called G5. Check this thing out. This is it. This company should get a hold of me. So this flashlight has got a head on it that spins, right? Okay. Which is uber cool. It's got two different lights in it. Watch this thing when it lights up. You ready? Watch this thing. That's how bright it is. That's how bright it is. Look at that. Is that crazy? Let me turn it off. That's crazy, right? And then it's got a little volume control right here, so you can spin it down, spin it up, and then do that, right? Okay. So there's that. Now, why is the spinning head cool? Well, it's got a little clip on the side that you can spin around, a clip, and you take this and you pop it out, and then you can move the clip to the back. Why? Well, what if you wanted to clip this on the visor of your hat? Right? Yeah. So, and it's tiny. Now, this I could get behind on the show. Thing's crazy. All right. Why did I? Oh, the silliest and best. Yeah. Okay. All right. Randy, have you ever experienced a shared dream with a stranger or someone close to you? I have not. I have not. I want that to happen. I have not. I have not. I've heard people talk about it and the possibilities of it. I don't know if I've talked to two people that have shared a dream. That's like the unicorn, right? That's like some rarefied air. But I have not. I remember reading probably 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that if you slept with your partner's back to you, so you sleep back to back, right? So your feet are going right. You put you touch your spinal cords together. That was the best way to share a dream. Of course, you've got to like your partner enough to be able to do that. Is this thing on? Is this thing working? Is this thing? You know what I mean? Most people, I don't know. Most people like to be touched or untouched when you sleep. Yeah, yeah. Some good comedies have been written around that. I don't know. I had heard that, though, many years ago, that was the way to do it. Let's see. Jimmy, how do I submit a guest to be on your show? You want to reach out to Michelle, my producer, Michelle Freed. Oh, I don't know. Do we have Michelle's email? Send it to me, right to one of our moderators, and they can turn around and get it to me. Yeah. Who's the guest? Post it. Post the guest right now. Bill, stay on top of that and get it to me. We have a lot of guests lined up. It's not that easy to squeeze stuff in. Okay, this is from expiatory Unitarian. How do you say that? I'm saying that wrong. Expiatory. I don't know. Unitarian Assembly. Enoch the Witness. Okay. Have you ever heard Bill Tompkins' testimony? I have. I've talked to Bill. Ex-NASA lunar engineer. He was a lunar engineer? Thought he was a model builder. Okay. Ex-NASA lunar engineer. Most people don't seem to have heard him over the years. Gets deep into reptilians on the moon and space. Bill Tompkins wrote his book. Bill, I've had on the show. So if you want to go back, you can look up Bill and listen to that show that I did with him. Bill was a young guy. I think he was in the Navy, if I've got that right, and was in LA during the Battle of Los Angeles, right before World War II for the United States kicked off, and we had Japan off the coast, and things were happening. 1941, and he gets called out here, and he gets in a couple of meetings, and then he goes down to San Diego, and the Battle of Los Angeles kicks off, and he says at that point that things were revealed to him about these giant ships that were being built by the Navy that looked like submarines, but went out into space, and they were being built in like Kansas or something. So you can go read his book, which I have. Interesting case. I'm not sure if he was a lunar engineer or NASA wasn't around. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting parts of Bill's story, but anyway, interesting. There you go. Okay. All right. Let's see. Brooke Drake says, what's your opinion on implants found in people? Yeah, that's a curious one, isn't it? That's a curious one. I've got friends. I have friends right now, today, that say that they have implants right now. All right. I have friends that have had them removed. Implants disappeared. I have friends that are researchers that say that they have implants in their possession. No, I've never seen them. And that's another holy grail thing, right? That's an Ark of the Covenant. It's interesting. It's absolutely interesting. Up the nose, little balls in the ear, behind the thing, legs, hips, back. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I think that all of us, when we first get into this subject and we hear this idea behind implants and what they are, so we're picturing implants that we have today, or that technology, and we've seen different versions of it and stuff, and on the skin looks like little circuit boards, but how do they power up? How do they keep their power? How do you recharge? Do you plug it in once in a while? How does that work? All right, so nuclear powered, I don't know, but joking, but the technology from an advanced ET civilization, what is it that we would be expecting or looking for when it comes to something like that? Yeah, it could be created in a lab, but biological, something that you wouldn't even be able to recognize really once you pulled it out. I don't know. How would we even know what that kind of advanced technology is there? What is it doing? What is it for? Who put it there? Don't know. There have been a lot of objects that have been removed from feet, and people swear up and down, this wasn't here. It's new. It's this. And it turns out to be pieces of glass, pieces of metal, pieces of wood. You're out running around outside in your bare feet, and stuff gets in there, and it's there for years. And one day the body decides to kick it out and reject it. And now you think you've got an implant. So when it's around the feet, on the bottom of the feet, you pick that up walking on hot asphalt back in 1975 when you were a kid. But anything else, ears, nose, sinus, neck, that area, armpits, that's pretty strange. Yeah. I'm still waiting for the definitive moment of something like that turning out to be real. I mean, not turning out to be real, but something that we could look at as evidence. Let's see. Jimmy, ever consider interviewing the Thunderbolt Project guys like Don Scott or Ether Talbot? Yes, I've done Thunderbolt 2 or 3 times. It's been a minute though. Yeah, it's been a minute. That's a really good point. I'll pass this on to Michelle. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've been doing really good work. There's something to that. I say it all the time. Everything is connected. Everything is electric. And Thunderbolts is one of the things that opened my eyes to all of that. Okay, Jimmy, this is from Roger. What is your favorite 80s cartoon from Saturday mornings? I wasn't watching cartoons in the 80s. I was doing that in the 70s. All right. But okay. So if I go from the 70s, best cartoons, Dudley Do Right. What was the racing machines? What was that called? That was really good. Man, Wacky Racers. Yeah. I love the Wacky Racers, man. I could not get enough of that stuff. And then, but in the 90s, when I got back into cartoons again with my daughter, there was this whole wave of amazing cartoons like the Animaniacs. Loved the Animaniacs. Pinky and the Brain. What were those three sisters called? Anyway, that whole wave of who's the Elvis guy? Johnny Bravo. Man, love Johnny Bravo, man. And so there's that whole wave of Cartoon Network stuff, Nickelodeon stuff that came in the 90s, and I could not get enough of it. The Animaniacs to this day just stands up on its own. It's just so good. So is Pinky and the Brain. So, yep, there we go. Good question, though. Wacky Racers. I mean, the other stuff, the Japanese stuff, like, Speed Racer, loved all of that. But, yeah, Jimmy. Oh, this is from Julie. Julie Reels. Jimmy, what do you think of the Hellier, Kentucky Goblin incident? It's the Orig. I'm going to go with the Orig. That's one of the first stories like that of its kind, and the family, what they went through. Remember, if we're talking about the same case, the family like shot out the windows for like 4 hours, ran out of ammo till they had to get the family to the car, husband, wife, and kids. It was like 8 of them into the car, drove to the sheriff's station, drove to the police station. Yeah, that was crazy. That was pretty nuts. And that's where the term, I could be wrong here, but I think that's where the term little green men came from, was that case. I think that's it. I think that's the case. When one of the local reporters typed up the story, and then he got little green men into the article, off to the races with that. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. I don't read these in advance, so keep it clean. I just saw a very recent interview with Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson. Okay. He associates UFOs and aliens with angels and demons. Any thoughts? It's as fair as anything. As fair as anything. I heard Tucker Carlson interviewed a demon on set last night or 2 nights ago. Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, sure. There is absolutely 100% nothing wrong with that. Until we know what's going on, everything is valid. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. Thank you for that, Biscuit. What are you doing watching Tucker Carlson? Kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. See, if I type that question, I go, I saw a clip from my feed about Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly talking about UFOs and demons. I would lead with that. I wouldn't imply that you watch the whole thing. I mean, that's just me. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, even though I do. All right. Randy Wilson, thank you for that. Let's see here. Palladian got us. Let's see. Have you guys watched the new, well, it's not new, it's 10, 15 years old now. Twin Peaks. You know, and the scenes that David Lynch's was genius of the highest caliber. And I almost blew it. The ending, the last episode, and how, and you're waiting for it to all come together, and it does, but it's kind of a cop out. But everything leading up to that, so disjointed, so strange, so weird, and shot so well. But it was when they were in the other dimension, how people were speaking. Did you did the Palladians, because they were like, it was like reverse speech, you know, and it was how they were doing. But then you're looking at the actors, and it's like they're speaking this way. Did they film it backwards? How? It's crazy. And anyway, I sounded like one of those characters from Twin Peaks trying to say Palladians. Let's see. How long does it take to dust all those guitars? Not long. I have a couple of dusters. I do it maybe once a week. But there's a certain technique to doing it. But yeah, I have dusters. I'll put one in each hand, and you know, there's a couple of critical spots when you dust a guitar. Let me make sure I'm not tangled up. When you dust a guitar, the critical spots are here. Let's pull this Les Paul down. It's a beautiful guitar, right? Okay, just look at it. Look at it. That's insane, isn't it? That's beautiful, isn't it? Right? But you want it to always be beautiful. So the only way that this can look like it does is that it's dust free. So the spots are like right here. It's not going to get dusty on the bottom. Right here, and across the top. And sometimes in here. But you can see this. Now, and I just pulled this off the wall. All right. But look at that. It's perfect. Everything is always dusted. I don't want anybody to come in here and pick up a guitar and have to go, no. But yeah, so yeah, it's very quick. You got to dust here, a little on the headstock, a little right here on the hips. You're done. You move on to the next one. I've got it down to a science. So much so that I do it with two hands. I have these long, you know, you start on the top row and you go all the way down and go to the next row. Yep. So how long does it take? I can knock everything out less than an hour. I do it a lot, though. It doesn't take too long, and I enjoy doing it. Let's see. This is from Bal. Jimmy, how many times have you seen orbs in the sky? What? I don't know. Thousands? There are some nights when you can go out and look and you can see stuff, you know, all night long, like every 10 seconds, every 15 seconds. How many times in a minute? 5 or 6, you know, and then, you know, how many is that in an hour? Times that by 3 or 4. Your neck is worn out. You get to the point where you end up laying in the grass and just looking up, because if you just sit there like this, you know, the whole time, it's crazy. So I have no idea. I don't know what that number is. I have no idea. Some of it completely unexplainable. When I see stuff in the sky and it's going east west, then it's orbit, it's a satellite, and you'll see them in the same path, right? Okay, well, those are satellites. Probably most of them are satellites. Okay, All right. I'll say that with confidence. It's the ones that are off axis, north, south is rare, but off axis and then things that move while they are going. Now, satellites can be orientated and moved. Yeah, I get that. But it's those orbs that are lower in altitude, bigger, that are different colors, not white, and change directions. Those are the ones that really catch my attention. And I've thousands. I have no idea. I have no idea. Okay. Oh, what are your thoughts on Tataria? Are we going to go there, Philip? Do you really want to go there? Come on, man. Okay. Here's my thoughts on it. I love the creativity put into the videos and the photographs. All right. It's fun to watch. Love it. Love it. I mean, I wish I could create that stuff. That stuff is really cool. Really fun to look at. All right. Now you believe what you want to believe. If you're into it, that's fine. I'm not saying you are. I don't know if you're trying to egg me on into saying something stupid, but I'll say that the videos are pretty fun to watch. The story itself is also fun. Okay. I'll leave that right there. That's as far as I'm going with it, Philip. I'm not going to take the bait. I'm not taking the bait on that. Not going to do it. What do you guys think of Tataria? You know what? Anything is possible, right? Okay, I just read that. See, Val, you're posting more than once because I'm just scrolling through. Whatever happened to Damon T. Barry? And that's from Roseweed. I would say I get this question every AMA. Is it from the same person, Roseweed? I don't know. I haven't spoken to Damon in what year is this? This is 2025. Spoken directly to him. I don't know. 8 years, maybe 7 years. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody should post up, look up the last Damon T. Barry show, and then probably 2 or 3 months after that show, I got an email from him. I wrote him back and never heard from him again. Yeah. Like his email was shut down, his phone was shut down. I have no way of getting a hold of him. Let's see. What's your favorite wristwatch micro brand? I hold on for a second. I want to make sure I have this terminology correct. Okay, here we go. That's what I thought. Okay, so I seeing if I have any of these. Okay, so I don't have anything in here. I used to have my watch box right here. It's not in my bedroom now. And then everything else is on my desk in my office on the other side. So I don't have anything in here. I have no watch. I always wear watches, but so I don't have anything to grab and show. But I do have a few things that I like. I just got a new Aragon Tourbillon, and that is amazing. That's an amazing watch. It's a 50 millimeter automatic tourbillon. Fantastic watch. I probably have 50 watches, like right in there. It's not a lot. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. I have like 2 watch cases full. I haven't bought a watch in a while, except for that tourbillon. But I have a Gavril motorcycle. It's a Swiss-made automatic micro brand that handmade, great watch, but it's got a disc brake in it. A disc brake. The watch is a disc brake with these shocks. Very nice skeleton, really cool. It's a Gavril. But I love that watch. I love that watch. I have a couple of Soviet watches too as well, and that are really cool. Everything else, everything I have is an automatic of one brand or another, you know, and I have all the brands. There are certain things that I don't even like mentioning because I think they are ego driven. And of course, I'm talking about like Rolex. I don't like wearing stuff like that. I just don't. I don't like it on my wrist. I don't like what it says. Somebody that's wearing a Rolex probably doesn't give a shit about what a Rolex is or what a watch is. They want you to see the watch and think that they are something that they are not. That's what to me. I don't want to offend anybody, but to me, that's the feeling that I get. All right, I just don't like. If you want to wear a nice watch that says something about you, there are so many cool things out there that you like. Go get a Gavril. Right? Just go get something that you like, that you're attracted to. Make sure it's an automatic. And then you want, you know, the extension of your heart represented on your wrist. Do that. I can guarantee you it's not a Rolex. Right? I mean, I have a tag, Monaco, Steve McQueen. I love that watch. And it's an extension. It's a car watch, right? Chronograph. And it's an amazing watch. Not cheap, but even wearing that, it's almost too pretentious. So anyway. All right. That was good. Should we take a break? Is this a good spot for a break? Now that we're talking about pretentious, ego-driven subjects like automatic Swiss watches, how did we get here? Okay, one question before we hit the break. Hi, Jimmy. If you could have a cup of coffee with anyone living or past, who would that be? Anyone? I mean, like anyone at all? Man, I just mentioned him. David Lynch would be amazing. Stanley Kubrick. Eddie Van Halen would be a good cup of coffee. Randy Rhoads would be a good cup of coffee. Dimebag Darrell would be a good cup of coffee. Those would be good. Those would be good. Maybe Jimi Hendrix. That would be a good one. How about living? Brian May would be a fun cup of coffee. You can go anywhere with Brian May. Talk music, talk science, talk UFOs, talk physics. That would be cool. What about from the UFO community? Man, Barney Hill would have been fun. George Van Tassel. That'd be a heck of a cup of coffee. I remember Eric Von Daniken says to me once, he goes, "So Jimmy, give me a call, come over, and we'll drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and talk watches." Think about this show right now. Eric said those words to me. I have pictures of it. And so I went and sat down with Eric Von Daniken, drank some amazing coffee, smoked cigarettes, and looked at each other's watches. He had an Omega moon watch, Speedmaster. And yeah, so that's, I would love to have coffee with Eric Von Daniken. Oh, I did. Right? Okay. There you go. Thank you for that, Jan. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. We're going to take a quick break. It's our AMA AJA. Post your questions in the chat in all caps. I'll be right back.
past 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial-free for just $2 a month.
I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forrester and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com.
So I guess the video didn't play. Didn't see that. I was not in the studio. I just sat down. Interesting. So you got the audio version of that. Okay. So anyway, tonight's our AMA, AJA, where you get to ask me anything. Post your questions in all caps in the YouTube live chat. And let's go to this. Jimmy, if someone breaks their UFO NDA, somebody listened to Christina Gomez today. Yeah. Okay. It's Android. Hey, Android. The government will just charge them with a different crime to still avoid disclosure, like what they did with Gary McKinnon. If you disagree, then why? Yeah, well, Gary McKinnon is a different situation. All right, so they charged him with damaging computers in the United States and doing that. I mean, that wasn't breaking an NDA or anything. I understand what you're saying about Gary. They didn't charge him with UFO specific stuff, but anyway, and of course the charges were eventually dropped. But your point is well taken. I think it's just come to the point where, especially for the UFO community, but for the rest of the world, if you are going to be questioned about what you're saying about UFOs and sightings or whatever, the military and stuff, and then suddenly you go, well, but I can't disclose anymore because of my NDA. All right, if that's your answer, show the NDA. That's all I'm saying. Show the NDA where you're not supposed to be talking about UFOs, because I think you can. It's a cop out. So the world, I've said this so many times. If you are the first person to step forward with the real stuff about UFOs, you will have statues on this planet until the end of time. You'll be the most famous. Einstein, Galileo, Jesus. You're above all of that. Okay? Maybe that'll encourage somebody to come forward. The whole world would be at your defense. There is nothing anybody will do to you. Period. Prove me wrong. You got to be courageous, man. You've got to be the first person to jump in the pool. There's a first for everything. I cannot imagine the nad of putting on a spacesuit, climbing on top of a rocket, and being blasted off to the moon. Chances are you ain't coming back. Okay? All right? That's the courage that I'm talking about. All right? All those explorers climbing to the top of a mountain for the first time after so many had died trying. You know, you had the Apollo disaster, Gus Grissom and the flame out, the oxygen that blew up as they were doing a shakedown test of the Apollo capsule right there, burned alive. Think about that. That is, you just don't know. You just don't know. And that's the courage that I'm talking about. That's the courage. That's what we need. I know it's there, and I know it's tough, and I know the secrecy is there, and I know the pressure. I'm totally aware of all of that. Let me tell you what it's like to do a show like this, where and coast to coast and everything else. I do this nearly every single day on a microphone, speaking to you. Couple hours a night. Used to be 3. Coast to coast was 4 hours. And I used to have now. I mean, I used to have tons of notes and things, and I haven't done that in 10 years, but or longer. Today, all I need is a word or an idea. And suddenly I am aware of what I have learned. It's a bizarre thing because it just all starts coming out. When I'm interviewing somebody, I'm asking questions. But when I go off on my own and I start, it just all unplugs and starts flowing out. I just need an idea. So, and I'll give you an example. Let's go with this. An idea. Okay, let's go with Egypt. Egypt. All right. So here we go. You ready? 3, 2, 1. How does a 3,000-year-old civilization disappear? Gone. How does that happen? It sounds impossible. When you look at, it's like saying, China, United States is 250 years old. Doesn't count. But India, China, where they just stop today. How long would it take for nobody on this planet to speak or read Chinese anymore? Where we look at Chinese and go, what does that say? I don't know. Can you read it? No. We have to figure this out. Well, it sounds impossible, doesn't it? Egypt. After 3,000 years, or more like 3,500, at 450 AD, we know this, 450 AD, 450 years after Cleopatra. In 450 AD, the last person that could read sacred hieroglyphs, the language, carved into a temple wall, the last hieroglyph, the last one. That was in 450 AD. After that, that person died. After that, nobody was left. Nobody spoke the ancient languages. Nobody read it. And then Egypt became covered in sand. From 450 AD for over 1,000 years, all of it was forgotten. Nobody, not the Egyptians, not anybody else, nobody who invaded the country, the Greeks and the Romans, the Ptolemy and the Caesars and Rome and all. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh and she was Greek. That all ended. It all ended. And at 450 AD, the last carving went on a temple wall. And from that point forward, all was lost. Now, how does that happen? It's like, wait a minute. We know so much about Egypt. Well, all of that is modern. All of it. All of it. And all of it is because of Napoleon. Now, wait a minute, Jimmy, what are you talking about? Napoleon. If it wasn't for Napoleon, we wouldn't know anything about Egypt today. Anything. How can this be? How is it possible that 3,000 years of history just disappears? Well, up until Napoleon in 1798, Napoleon, he was 29 years old, and Napoleon was running around the world and causing trouble. And back in France, he was a hero, but he was pillaging all the great art. He went through Italy and took in front. So all of this is going on. England or France, the Directory, they were called at the time, wanted him to invade England. He's like, nah, not interested. What Napoleon really wanted to do was go and check out the rumors of this country called Egypt. That's it. And it was all rumors up until that point. Anybody that you can talk about from the past that was there, that was in the past. And we didn't even find out about that until modern history. All right. Plato, whatever you want to talk about. Greek, Rome forgot about Egypt. Forgot. Egypt was so old at that point. They were already 2,000 years old. And Greece wasn't a country yet. Greece was fields. Rome was a collection of mud huts. There was nothing there yet. That's how old Egypt is. So Napoleon had heard rumors. Now, there were only a few references to Egypt from different ship captains and stuff that made their way, tried to go up the Nile and saw stuff and would make crude drawing. But these were all rumors. So he wanted to go and check it out. And there was some stuff about Alexander the Great, and he was a military historian, and there was that part, and he knew that there was a city there, Alexandria. So he wanted to go and check it out. So he tells France, he goes, look, I'm going to put this expedition together. And I'm going to go to Egypt. And the reason why I want to go to Egypt is because there's a trade route that's going through there, and we could cripple England if we cut off their trade route to India in the east. All right, do it. Napoleon puts 300 ships together. 300 ships, sails from the south of France. He's got 13 of these large battleships. One of them was the Lorient, his ship, his personal ship, which was the largest ship ever built in the history of everything up until that time. And that was his ship, the Lorient. It had 180 cannon on it. So he takes off, heads out from the south of France. He goes down, and this is some of the crazy things that happen. He goes down and he stops by Malta. This is one of the great mysteries in the history of everything. Check this out. So he goes to Malta. He invades Malta. Malta, the Knights of Malta, and whatever. He invades Malta. He's there for 2 days. He's there for 2 days. Runs over the country. Leaves 5,000 troops. Now it's 300 ships. He's got 60,000 troops. His army. He's got another 200 scientists and scholars, and then their interns, students and stuff like that. So there's like 400, 500 of them. And then the Navy itself, that is the crew of these 300 ships. But that's an armada. That's 300 ships, 60,000 troops. He invades Malta. Decides he wants to build a shipyard there, a Navy base. So he leaves 5,000 troops there. But what he does do in Malta is he takes all of their treasures, everything. And one of the things that he stole, were 12 life-sized, solid silver statues of the disciples. He loads those on his ship. He takes everything else that they have. The only thing that he let them keep was a little piece of the true cross, piece of wood. You can have that. I'm taking everything else. So he leaves Malta and he sails to Alexandria. He unloads his troops, invades Alexandria, takes over that, heads south to Cairo. He's only there for about a week or two. Makes it into Cairo, does the Battle of the Pyramids. And where he fought. Egypt at that time was controlled by the Turkish, the Mamelukes, and he does the Battle of the Pyramids right there, runs them over, and they take off. He kills. He loses like nobody. Nobody dies from the French army. Thousands of the Mamelukes. The Mamelukes, man, they had turbans and gorgeous, beautiful horses, and very, very majestic, right? But they were wiped out. And so Napoleon takes over Cairo, and he sends his hundreds of engineers and scholars and artists and botanists and scientists. He says, go and discover Egypt, document everything. And it was the first time the world would later see accurately what was in Egypt. But up until that time, we didn't know anything. While that is going on, he takes over Cairo. The Mamelukes, the houses that they were living in, takes over that, establishes settlements around the Nile Valley, and the French troops are set up. About a week later, this is what happens. A week later, Admiral Horatio Nelson, the famous British admiral. He's been looking for Napoleon throughout the Mediterranean. He's sailing here, and he missed him a couple of times. It was right 300 ships, but they just, right? So anyway, he comes back. He pulls into Alexandria, and he sees the Armada. It's like, holy crap, Napoleon's here. Napoleon's got his troops on shore, and they had, it's Aboukir Bay, by the way. And so Napoleon had his Navy point their ships out, the cannon out to the Mediterranean. There was going to be somebody that was going to attack. They would come in, and the guns were already pointed that way. It's called ships in a line. He had 13 ships. His Lorient was in the middle. With his 180 cannon, 90 cannon, pointed that way. And, but Horatio Nelson, he comes in, he goes, oh man, I'm going to sneak in. So he sails in behind Napoleon's fleet who can't turn around. They're anchored. Their guns are pointed the other way. And Horatio Nelson completely destroys the entire Napoleon fleet in a matter of hours. Sinks it all, everything, including the Lorient. And when the Lorient exploded, it was at nighttime. When the explosion was so big that the entire battle of the Nile went silent for 10 minutes. Everybody was just in shock watching this go down. But what was curious about that? Remember Malta? The 12 solid silver statues of the disciples of Jesus? They were never seen again. They went to the bottom of the Mediterranean. They've never been found, including the rest of the stuff and the loot that they took from Malta, and all of the gold and money and everything else that was on the Lorient, never been found. It's on the bottom of Aboukir Bay somewhere. You would think that would be the expedition of a lifetime, would be to go and do that. So that left Napoleon stranded. He had no way to get reinforcements. He had no way to flight out, right? If he wanted to escape, can't do it. Stuck. So they settled in. The British have control of the Mediterranean. There's nothing that the French can do, right? But Napoleon is stuck in Egypt. So over the next year, his crew is out, and he establishes the Egyptian Institute of Antiquities. And that is where modern Egyptology today started from. 1798. Before 1798, we knew nothing. Couldn't read the languages, didn't know what was there. Nobody had poked around. You know what Napoleon ended up doing? The Valley of the Kings. That's right. The Valley of the Kings, discovered by Napoleon and his scientific team. They went in on the first day. They had heard rumors. They had heard things. You got to understand the population was different back then. But they had, if you go over there, you might see some stuff. They went in, and on the first day, they found 12 tombs. Okay, now we're up to 70 something tombs in the Valley of the Kings. That was discovered by Napoleon. Without that, right? Think about it. So the other crazy thing that happened, there was a lot of crazy things that happened at this time, but right next to Alexandria on the coast, on the Mediterranean, at the top of Egypt, Lower Egypt, as they call it, the mouth of the Nile, is the town of Rosetta. And there was a fort there. And the French, right, the Rosetta Stone, and the French decided to rebuild this fort, and they were going to reuse parts of these walls, and they were going to rebuild this, and they were taking down this wall, and that's where they found the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone, which is, it's 3 feet tall, it's big, but it was used as a piece of rock in this wall. It wasn't a big display, it wasn't a big monument. No, over all that time, it was like a big piece of granite. And so they used it as part of this wall. So the French pull it out, and they realized, that's when they looked at it and went, wow, okay, so that's the ancient language. That is a script we don't understand. That's Greek over there. It turns out there were 2 languages there, not 3. There were just 2. So you had hieroglyphs, and then you had the common Egyptian script writing. Like, you can write in block letters in English, and then you have cursive writing. So there was that version of hieroglyphs for people to use, and that was in the middle. And then the other script was ancient Greek. And at the bottom of the Greek, they could read it. And so at the bottom, the last line was like, okay, this has been written 3 times in the ancient sacred language, and then so like, okay, so these are 3 identical things. So they knew they had it, but they hadn't deciphered anything. But Napoleon did that. Now, but that was a French discovery. Why isn't the Rosetta Stone at the Louvre? Why isn't it at the Louvre? It's a great question. Right? Napoleon discovered it. He was stranded in Egypt. They're going around documenting, writing. They had their scientists, botanists collecting plants and animals and drawing everything, and engineers, and they were just surveying. Oh, man, brilliant. But Napoleon lost that battle. And for him to get out of Egypt, the British come back and they write up a treaty. And they tell Napoleon, they tell the French, and this is in 1801, you can keep your plants, you can keep your animals, but all this other stuff, all the antiquities, all the artifacts, everything else, that's British. You want out of here? You want your ships to come back in the Mediterranean? Well, we signed this treaty. We get the good stuff. You keep the plants and animals. So Napoleon, who is now back in France at this point, and he goes back with, finally, his scientists come back, but they have all of the etchings and drawings. So that stuff goes back. But the Rosetta Stone, that's at the British Museum. That's not at the Louvre. It's at the British Museum. Probably one of the most important discoveries in the history of everything. And that's at the British Museum. And so this is what ended up happening. This is the crazy part. That was 1801. They take all of the etchings and the drawings, and Napoleon publishes one of the biggest collections of books ever published. It was 10 volumes, and it was called, in French, The Description of English, The Description of Egypt. 10 volumes of artwork and etchings of Egypt, correctly drawn. The pyramids as they stood, the temples, Valley of the Kings, all of this stuff was now depicted in there, along with the flowers and the botany and animals and things. But it was so accurately done that the hieroglyphs that they had done are readable. You can use that. Now, the Rosetta Stone wasn't deciphered for another 21 years. That's why I'm trying to stress with you, everything that we know today is modern. This wasn't handed down from person to person, people reading the Edfu King's list. And no, nobody knew anything. It was Napoleon that went in, got stuck and stranded in the country, and he went out, established the institute, and took the time while he was there to go and document everything that he could, and he did. Those 10 volumes of the description of Egypt was one of the most famous things ever published in the history of everything. And people around the world, for the first time, were seeing Egypt accurately with accurate descriptions. And part of that were the hieroglyphs, but they thought it was a picture language, the rest of the world. So you had the hieroglyphs, they're looking at it and you see a foot, you see a bird, right? You see an owl, and it was like, oh, so they were walking to go bird watching next to the water. That's what people read. They didn't realize it took 21 years. So what ended up happening was, before the English took the Rosetta Stone back to England, the French made prints of it. They rolled ink on it and made copies of it. And they gave those away to anybody that wanted one. They gave copies. They wanted this stuff deciphered. Nobody could read it. But that's why people think that the Rosetta Stone is black. It's not black. It's red granite. The back half of it is red. It's granite. The front of it's black because the French were rolling ink over it. I'm not making this up. So the French have copies of it. The British have the stone itself, and they're making their own copies, and everybody's working on it. It took 21 years to crack the code on hieroglyphs. But when they did, the floodgates were opened. Now that they could read the language, and slowly scholars started to learn the language, and now they're going to Egypt. They're looking at the stuff. They're looking at the description of Egypt. They're looking at the books, and now they're starting to break this stuff down. And that's when they figured out the King's List and started to put timelines together. This was a British effort. It was a French effort. Many people were going there, scientists, archaeologists, anthropologists, trying to figure out the mystery of Egypt, which didn't start to come together until 1850, 1860, 1900. That's just 100 years ago. King Tut's tomb wasn't discovered until 1922, 1921, 1922 with Howard Carter. That's 100 years ago. So before that, the age of Egypt, it being 3,000 years old, that's a modern interpretation. That isn't something that was put together from books and everything else from ancient Egypt that was written as time went along. No, this was all figured out in a modern sense because of Napoleon. It's an absolute incredible story. And when we start to put all of this together, you have to remember, now they're going to Edfu, they're going to Karnak, they're going to Luxor, Saqqara, Darfur, including, of course, the Giza Plateau, but there's not much hieroglyphs or things to read there, but there's stuff everywhere else. And that's when they started to put all of this ancient stuff together that nobody knew about. It's a bizarre story. And when we, today, when I hear people quote Egyptologists, researchers, you, me, whatever, when we talk about Egypt today, it is only the modern part of what we have discovered about a country that was 3,000 years old, that that faded away, completely forgotten about. The sands of time rolled in. How many times do we have to hear the story about the Sphinx being buried up to its neck? All of Egypt was like that. There are still pyramids in Egypt with 100 feet of sand up on the outside of the pyramids. They haven't been cleared away. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So now my point into doing all of this, what I just rattled off is what I have learned. And I need to share, it's so easy for me to just go, bloop, jump on a subject. I just need a word. I just need a bullet point, and this knowledge comes out. That's what I've gotten from Fade to Black. That's what I've gotten from these AMAs. That's what I've gotten from you, the audience, over the years. I say it all the time. I've now gone to college for 12, 13, 14 years, learning every single day. There you go. All right. Whew. Let's go back to questions. See how I did that? I just spoke for, I don't even know. What time did I start that rant? That's 30 minutes just turning on my brain. I love it. I love it. All right, let's see what this is. Jose Sanchez, do you think that the Star Trek TV series writers might have based the Klingon and Romulan cloaking device on actual cloaking device technology being in UFOs today? And what bizarre coincidence, or is it? Yeah, see, that's a great question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Does the idea of cloaking, which has always kind of been there in a military sense, how do you hide yourself? How do you hide your tank? How do you hide your clothes, camouflage clothes? How do you blend, right? How do you blend it? That's always kind of been there. But Star Trek absolutely put it out there and put the ideas out there. So now with us and our military and materials that are used to paint or cover underneath and on top of airplanes and tanks, and the ability to cloak and hide, and in some cases completely disappear vehicles. It happens right now. Did it come from the ideas of Star Trek? You just put the idea out there. The communicator, the communicator, right? Flip it open. That's what this is. No different, right? It's really nuts. Dick Tracy, the watch, the Apple iWatch, that's from Dick Tracy. Nobody invented that, right? That's not original. Yeah, it's crazy. What came first? Man, that's such a good point. Are you going to bring some coconut and halves with you to Scotland? We're talking about that right now. Come on, Patsy. Yeah, we're talking about that right now. What are we going to do? I am going to have King Arthur's costume. So I'm working on that. I'm not going to do the crown. I'm not going to do, but the son, right? His outfit. I don't know if I'm going to do the grail. I'm looking into that, but I've already got an artist working on it. He wears that shirt with the sun on it, with the face. That I'm going to have. Yeah. I'm definitely putting that together, and some other tidbits. But I'm going to go with that. And we got to have, I think everybody on the tour is going to get a pair of coconuts. We absolutely have to do that. We're talking about that. This isn't just me blabbing. All right, let's see. Batman. What you get? There's a dog. This is actually funny. It's not a question, but I'll read it anyway. What do you get when you cross an insomniac, an agnostic, and a dyslexic? Someone who sits up all night and wonders if there is a dog. Oh, man, that's good stuff. That's from Batman. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, hold on for a second. Let's see. This is from David Todd. Because of what you just said, did you see 1994? I was in Ventura, national news, 4 or 5 huge Superdomes. No. Did I see you on the news? Did I see the wormhole, the spirals over Pensacola from the bridge? I haven't heard this story. No, I haven't heard that. Has anybody else? Post it if you have, and let me know where I can check it out. Jimmy, would you test up? Hold on, let me pop this up. This is from Louisville. Charlie, Would you testify if asked or subpoenaed to testify to Congress about your experiences and knowledge about UFOs? Of course I would. And I would spill the beans. There are people out there that the idea of me sworn under testimony sitting up in front of Congress scares the shit out of them. I know too much dirt. I've been involved in too much dirt. Yeah, they would squirm. Hey, man, you got to tell the truth. If they ask, I'm going to tell the truth. Yeah. Am I sitting on the imperial secrets? The short answer to that is no, and I'm glad that I don't. But what I have experienced is a couple of dozen people of note. It's hot in here. Who have lied about each other, lied to me, lied to each other, lied back, stretched the truth, made stuff up, and absolutely tried to burn everything down with each other. And I'm talking about people well that I can't say anymore. I don't want to say, I'm not going to, but if Congress asked me about them, I would tell them the truth. And I've got the receipts. I've got the emails. I've got the text. I've got the voicemails. I got all that stuff. Yeah. Not on my computers, by the way. That stuff, I have hidden so many SSD drives. Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. What am I talking about? Yeah, one day, I don't even know. I was talking to somebody about this just recently, a couple of days ago. I don't know if I would put this stuff in a book. At what point do I not care and just, it's really not who I am and being sensational. If I wanted clicks and I wanted this, because I don't need clicks. I don't care about clicks. I don't care about money. It's not what drives me. So it's not about that, because if it was, I would be doing it now. I'd be putting out video after video and statement after statement and just writing stuff up and blowing that. Nah. I really feel that the universe is going to fix this in its own way. Yeah. I'm pretty confident in that. I don't know. But I do want to be around when it happens. All right. Another strange coincidence. Star Trek's transporter. Is that right? Is that transporter process, and the Philadelphia experience, both designed to move molecular objects. Yeah, the Philadelphia experiment is another great story. And if you jump into that and you read the history of it and how it happened and how it was exposed in the books that were sent, it's pretty interesting. It's a fun little conspiracy to jump down. Ever hear of the Shamir? Ancient sources say it's carved stone without contact and it had to be sealed in lead. I know. Yeah. That's been in the East Village. It's one of those things where when you look at the Shamir, you look at the Dropa stones and other objects that were rumored to be true or rumored to have existed and have been documented, but then just disappear and are gone. One of them, the Oak Island stone, that was allegedly on display and everything, that's gone. Right? It's really weird when it comes to that kind of stuff. the Dropa stones are a very interesting part of history, just gone. I mean, is it just a made up story, or is there something else to it? And yeah, the Shamir is another one of those interesting. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I am totally with you. Okay, where are we? What is really causing the disappearances in national parks? Well, you're talking about missing 911. The numbers are there. The numbers are there. Yeah. What is it? Are the national parks just too big, and that it's just a numbers game, or they cover so much acreage that missing people are missing from everywhere in all parts of the country? But if you map out the borders of a national park, you see this and you go, there's something going on here. What can you do with missing people in Los Angeles or Dallas, Texas, or Wichita, Kansas? I don't know, pick Springfield, Illinois. You'll see groupings there too as well. I don't know. When you tie in the other parts to the work of Polites and interviewing different law enforcement and the witnesses and the family members of these missing people, it certainly does get intriguing. His films are great. He's fun. He's put a lot of work into this. And, is it Bigfoot? Is it E.T.? Is it supernatural? Is it nothing at all? Is it serial killers? Is it people just getting lost and never found? I don't know. But yeah. I say it all the time. If you're going to go to a national park, tie yourself to your friend with a rope. Have you ever visited the Bosnian pyramids? I have not. I have not been to Bosnia. Let's see. Who's this from? Let's see here. How was the Detroit Red Stripe Pizza you were getting to celebrate your birthday? Oh. There is a plate. Man, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you guys something right now. Okay. Okay, this is the restaurant. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is the restaurant. I'm going to show you the Red Stripe. It's called Slice House. Let me find the Red Stripe Pizza. Man, look at this stuff. Oh my God. Now I want to do this. Today's my Friday, by the way. And oh man, truly. And just the simple fact that, did I pass the Red Stripe? Let me see here. Let me back up. This is okay. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. I'm not going to waste time. If it doesn't pop up right now, I'm going to show you a picture of this. All right. You ready? Oh, man, are you joking? Are you really doing that to me? All right, I'm already done. I've already lost interest in this. I hate it when I go and try to save an image and then it says no, or it's a WebP file. And as soon as it does that, okay, you ready? This is what I'm talking about. This place is incredible, man. Look at that. Look at that. So yeah, and it's as good as it looks. Slice House Pizza. Look it up. Look it up. World champion pizza maker. And there you go. So the Red Stripe is this. Now you see where the ricotta is on the top. That's where the racing stripes go. The red sauce is just right down the middle. I can't find a picture of that. It's like their most famous pizza. I can't find pictures of it. I thought it would be right here. It's all over their menu. But yeah, there you go. Okay, just incredible. It's the secret with all of this stuff is the sauce, of course. It's the dough, and it's the prep of that. It's the ingredients, of course. But when it's gourmet like this, or it's put together with that kind of love, it's insane. That is an insane pizza. Slice House Pizza. I'm glad. See, that's why I like hanging out with you guys, because you remember everything. Between Earth and Jimmy, did you see the new object discovered between Earth and 3i Atlas? That's also an Atlas object too, as well. It's not 3i. 3i is the third interstellar, but there is a new Atlas that was discovered 2025. Is its designation. Yeah, crazy. So we have 4 objects right now. 4. We have Swan, we have Lemon, and we have 2 Atlases at the same time. Why isn't anybody going, you know what, man, this shit's weird? Not one comment. You know how excited? Haley's comments coming in. Hale Bob's coming in. This comment's coming. You know, one comment and we would lose our minds. We got 4. 4 at the same time. It's like crazy. And there isn't anybody going, yeah, you know, this is a little unusual. Talking about hieroglyphs, right? The temples in Egypt. Imagine if there was on a temple wall, right? Pharaohs, his army, the boats, and they got this big picture and this big thing, and it's 20 feet tall. And in the sky are 4 comets. We would go, that's crazy. That right there is not. Can you believe that had 4 comets at one time? Somebody's got to be lying. They didn't have 4 comets, did they? No. Who heard about what 4 comets? What did? And right now, 4. That's nobody. The significance of that is crazy. Did you watch Heavy Metal in the 80s? Of course I watched Heavy Metal in the 80s. Sammy Hagar did yeah, I liked Heavy Metal. Was good. It was a good cartoon. Ralph Bakshi. What do I think will be the next big thing in technology? Mind operated everything. Like the clapper, right? Except you just go, start your car. Yeah. Mind operate. You just look at your phone and just go, right. That's next. Mind operated everything. We're going to figure that out. Not sensors on your head. No. The technology will be here to receive it. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. It's from Wes. Thank you for always being a great host. Thank you, Wes, and for helping me think about new ideas. That's what it's all about. You know, I was talking about this earlier today with Christina. See, I am an hour behind on the questions. Well, I spent a half hour talking about Egypt. How much do I have to insure my guitar? It's insured. I can insure you that it is insured. I can assure you. Have you seen the movie The Void? Yes. With my luck, those are the aliens I encountered. Oh, man. That's funny. That's funny. I can only say, I wish you were my friend. I am your friend. What are you talking about, Cynthia? I'm your friend. Is that your real picture, Cynthia? Is that your real name? I love it. I'm just making fun of this. You just never know these days. You know, everybody, you want to go by, we all want a nickname, right? We all want a nickname, and you run by that. And social media gives you that opportunity to put on a different shirt and run with it. I love that. You just don't know. It's so funny when a bunch of Fader knots will get together and meet each other for the first time in public. Oh, really? You're Bob the Owl? I'm Cynthia the Great. Whatever. Oh, it's good to finally meet you. Yeah, but my real name is Bonnie. Oh, yeah. Well, my real name is Keith. Right. I'm like, wait a minute. I've only known you as, right? MWL. I don't know why that spells owl to me, but MW, whatever, right? I'm MWL. Oh, cool. But that's not my real name. My real name is Bartholomew Jenkins. What is that? You know what? Roseweed, right? I love this. Timothy Adams sounds like it's his real name. Wes Decker, I got the feeling that's Wes's real name. Man, Wes just throwing money around tonight. Thank you, Wes. But yeah. Oh, we've got a few real names in here, but Swatch is my favorite watch. Love those little plastic waterproof things. I used to have I have a Swatch automatic skeleton with an ETA in it, an ETA, an ETA. It's a really nice Swiss watch. It's a Swatch. It's metal. It's not plastic. All right. So we are past everything, but I am an hour behind. So thoughts on Jeff Lynne and ELO? Man, I'm going to tell you right now. Jeff Lynne is a genius. ELO, every version of that band, the best of the best of the best. All of their albums were great. For me, the one that stands out is Out of the Blue. I was young. I was like 14, 15 years old when that album came out. Loved the Alien UFO album cover and all of that. But the music itself, Bev Bevins, God, man, what a great band. What a great band. And I couldn't get enough of ELO. You know, my friends were into Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, and so was I. But ELO was my little friggin' secret little gift to myself. Yeah. That was I love Jeff Lynne and ELO. I'm glad that you said that, because not enough recognition. Musicians will go, yeah, man, Jeff Lynne, but most people, ELO just kind of, just didn't get it. Jimmy, what's more important, right or being right or being kind, being honest or being liked? Wow. Being right or being kind, being honest or being liked? You got to go with the two middle ones, being kind and being honest. Being right doesn't matter. Well, what does that get you? Do you get a check in the mail or something? You get gifted? Doesn't matter. In fact, nobody cares but you. So that doesn't matter. Being kind is so important. Being honest is even more important and probably the harder thing to do. And even more so being honest with yourself. Being honest with other people, yeah, it's so important. It's just so important because people look back at you. Being liked, don't give a crap. When you're young, when you're in 6th grade, when you're a freshman in high school, being liked is all that mattered. That's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. I look back and I just I could give a crap. If you don't like me, that means I'm being honest. Right? Think about that. Yeah. If you like me, it's because I'm being honest. But if you don't like me, it's because I'm being honest. I'm not fake. Yeah. Don't give a crap about being liked. That's a great question, though. Love that. That's from Stella. Let's keep this going. Let's do some overtime. Are you guys down for some overtime? I can't read your comments because I'm way behind. I'm only at 8:00. Ooh. 10 years, no notes. Yeah, pretty much. It's my, I think I love AMA nights. Glad I caught this live tonight. Yeah, right on. Oh, you know what I could do? So I'll read some more questions and then give me a subject and I'll rant for another hour. You guys down for that? Jimmy, have you seen the movie Weapons? I have. Great movie. Great movie. Great movie. Not what I expected. Not at all, by the way. I'm not going to give it. It's too new of a movie. I'm not going to make any comments about it. The name fits, but you don't, not out of the gate, but fun, kooky, weird. That's all I'm going to say. It's a really good movie. Not what I got to the end of Weapons. I did. I got to the end of it. And I went, that friggin' kicked ass. That was a great movie. Original, action-packed, keeps you guessing, funny and quirky at times, scary at times, supernatural, paranormal at times. You honestly don't know what the frig is going on. And I love that. It's a great story, great script. Great script. Did I just endorse Weapons? You damn Skippy, I did. Man, it was just a great movie. I'm just scrolling. I'm looking for all caps. This is why you've got to put it in all caps, because I am just zipping by. Let's see who's up next. Have you seen a metapod? I don't know what that is. What's a metapod? King Arthur is probably related to the Welsh, original ancient Britons, not Anglo-Saxons. Could be. Jimmy would be that guy. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, come on. Let's get to questions. You guys are just loving chatting with each other. Oh man, it's not a question, but man, it's worth posting. Jimmy, with Dime Bag, it wouldn't be coffee; it would be Crown Royal or Makers for midday black tooth grin. Yeah, man. Foofa. Never met him though. God, it's just so weird. Same circle, same thing, same friends, same. I never met him. Never did. Never met Dime Bag. Never met Dimebag. So I don't know exactly when it was, but early 90s, and I was listening to Pantera, like Cemetery Gates or something. And I've got these headphones on and I'm listening to it, and it was so different. It was so completely different than anything else at that time. Metallica, the Black Album was out, but that was different. That was not, there were things that were but Pantera just blasted out, doing its own thing. And I'll never forget that. It's like, what is going on? It was the guitar tone. It was the writing. The everything the drum, everything just wrecks. Oh man, just congealed into this divine perfection. And Dimebag grabbed a hold of me, man. Just grabbed me and shook me by the throat. Whew. Jimmy, if you could have any vintage Harley, what would it be? That's simple. I want the Billy bike. I want the Billy bike from Easy Rider. I don't want the Captain America. I don't want a 1947. I don't want some. No. I want the Billy bike. I've looked into this enough where I may get a reproduction of it, one with disc brakes. I said it, but man, I would like a Billy bike. I would like a Billy bike. That's out of everything out there. I would love to have a Billy bike. I would like to have an old vintage Norton or something like that. That would be really, really cool. A vintage Triumph Bonneville. That would be fun too. But if it was a Harley, I'm Billy bike. Love Twin Peaks and the soundtrack. Man, the Twin Peaks theme, boom, boom, boom. Right? When that kicks off, that is the darkest, and the other part, especially with the new Twin Peaks, like every other episode when they're back at the bar and there's a band on the stage. It was just always amazing. You know, they had 9 Inch Nails one night. Rebecca Del Rio, she just passed away a couple of months ago. Rebecca Del Rio, look her up. Man, her stuff that she did for Twin Peaks was incredible. And her career and her voice, her beauty, her inner beauty, oh man, Rebecca Del Rio. And she was really good friends with David Lynch. But anyway, yeah, Twin Peaks, the soundtrack. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to keep this going tonight. Let's see. Jimmy, did you see the new object V1 Borisov that was discovered between Earth and 3i Atlas 2 to 3 days ago? Okay, no. Okay, you've got this backwards. Borisov is 1. Borisov is 1 S and Oumuamua is 2S. I think that's what it was. Borisov came down a while ago. So yeah, you have the names of these objects backwards. Okay. But yes, you're right. No, there's a 4th object, and it's also called Atlas. There's 2 Atlases, 3i Atlas and this new Atlas, C2025. You've got that right. But the V1 Borisov, there isn't a V1. So I'm pretty sure, I don't want to have this wrong. Borisov is 1I. Okay, 3I is 3rd interstellar. That's 3I Atlas. Second, 2I Oumuamua is the 2nd interstellar, and then Borisov is 1I. I think that's right. I don't want to be wrong with this. I'm getting so confused with all of it now. All I know is there is indeed 4 objects right now in the sky. Okay, here it is again. C25V1. Okay, let me get this right. This is the second person talking about this. C2025 V1 Borisov. Okay, there it is. Okay, let me get an explanation. Okay, this is I didn't know it was called Borisov, but C2025V1, the Borisov ties into another interstellar object. Yes, I am aware of that. This is the 4th object, and it was just discovered. I reported on this, and it's crazy too. This is what's nuts about this object, C2025 V1, is 3i Atlas overshadowed the news of this. Kind of knew it was there, right? But nobody really gave a crap because everybody was talking about 3i Atlas. And then this thing pops out behind the sun. It's like, what? Another comet. So yeah, I am aware there is 4. Borisov is what threw me off with that. So you are correct. Who posted it first? UAP Ryan, thank you for that. And also, who mentioned it first? Quit crying and figure it out. I got to tell you, that is the best social media name anybody could have. Quit crying and figure it out. UAP Ryan. There you go. Thank you for that. Yes, I okay, this is the 5th post now from UAP Ryan. Thank you for that. Renee, my very skilled, intrepid news producer who has been with this show forever. And when I say forever, I don't even want to disclose, it ages the both of us. I have such respect for her, but she knows exactly what I am looking for when it comes to not only the news, but stuff that interests me. And she found this immediately and sent this to me. So I think what's today? Today's Thursday. Did I do it yesterday on the news or the day before? But the second that it was discovered, Renee got it to me. Renee's the best. You know what Renee used to do? Renee used to correct me on everything that I said wrong. She doesn't do it anymore. She doesn't do it because it didn't work. It didn't work. She's laughing right now. She's like, yep. It's just like every day she would have to do it. She would listen to me do the show. She'd listen to me do the news. This went on for years. She'd go, Jimmy, that's not how you say milk. That is not how you say automobile. It's pronounced like this. And then she'll send me a link of somebody saying the word how to say automobile, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But it was like that because I say, I talk fast. Things come out and I say it wrong. Or if I see a word that I can't pronounce, I was worse than like Trump with Tylenol. Remember that? Circumcision. Remember that? I was that bad. I was. And I just stopped responding to it. Renee's just like, I can't. I've tried this now for years. I've got Renee threw in the towel, man. She tapped out. She was like, she tapped out. She tapped out like UFC, chokehold, right? Arm hold. Yep. Will there be food replicators, Jimmy? We're getting close to that. 3D printers, right? 3D printers. We're going to be doing 3D printed food soon. Burgers, right? Steak, spaghetti, layer that thing up. Yeah. So that is right around the corner. That is right around the corner. Now, I know what you're saying. That's nasty. It is. If you're here on planet Earth, where you can go to the farmer's market and get real corn, real strawberries, right? Go to a really nice butcher shop and get a really nice cut of meat and do a why. Okay. No, you wouldn't. Out there in space, a replicated pizza is your best friend. Absolutely. You wouldn't give a crap. You wouldn't. Not even what it tasted like, just as long as it looked like a pizza, like it looked like a chef salad, right? If it looks like Hidden Valley Ranch dressing on the side, and that was replicated, you wouldn't care. No, your eyes are half of the taste anyway. Think about that. All right, let's keep going. Man, we're way past the end of the show. I'm at 9:03 here. We're at 9:18 on the show. This is fun, isn't it? Will there be a food replica? Oh, I just read that. See, I don't read these in advance. I just read it when it pops up. Let's see. Okay, that's 4 food replicator questions in a row. 5 food replicators. I also go by Cindy Woo Woo. Oh, man. I'm going to post this. This is up in the chat. Cynthia Todd says, I also go by Cindy Woo Woo 59. Oh, man. I love that. That's great. That's great. How do you think about time? Is it like water or wind? Oh, man. You know what's weird about time? If you're not, lots of tests have been done on this and experiments and things. But if you're not looking at a clock, if you don't have a watch on, do you know when a day goes by? If you're in a dark room, right? You can't see the sunlight. You don't have clocks around. How do you know what time is? How do you know? How do you know what an hour is, or 20 minutes, or 12 hours? How do you know? How do you know what time is? The way that I feel about time today, everybody talks about it. I'm experiencing it. We all know when you were 10 years old, 9 years old, 8 years old, and it was August, Christmas was 5 years away. Took forever. now I don't even have a judgment on what a year is. It's like, pop, pop. It's that I blink and it's Christmas. I blink and it's Christmas. I blink and it's Christmas. It's weird. The concept of time. I don't know why it's like that. And when you're younger, are you wearing a watch? Today it's different. You've got kids have cell phones and things, and they're probably aware of the time a lot. But when we were kids, man, nobody had a watch. Nobody had a radio. Man, we were out walking through fields, riding our bikes, out playing, doing this and that. And I mean, the only judge of time, I guess, is when you were at school. And summer, do you know what time it is? No, you never did. Right? Sun goes down, it's dark. Okay, you kind of got to start walking home. But do you know what? There isn't. Time is a strange thing. And that's us personally, at a personal level. Talk to a scientist about time. They don't know dick. They don't know nothing. They don't know. No. They know about as much about time as they do gravity. Do you know? Okay, there's a lot of things that should be known and are not. An electron. You've heard of an electron. You think you know what it is, right? Fundamentals of fundamentals, right? Nobody's ever seen an electron. Nope. Nobody. The math says it's there. There's a lot of solid math and experiments, that have been applied to it to say that electrons exist. All right. Get a physicist to describe an electron to you. Can't do it. They can't even tell you how big it is, right? We always picture it being really small and zipping around and doing it. I remember famous physicist goes, so if you're in a room with no electrons and then one electron is brought into the room, the one electron takes up the entire room. I'm like, huh? It just doesn't make any. Do you know what you're talking about? Do you honestly understand the words coming out of your mouth? I'll leave that right there. So it's nothing hard but gut wrenching. I'm not sure what that is. Eddie Van Halen would blast frequencies through his guitar at live concerts. Yes, he would, for sure. Will there be food replicator? Man, how many times have food replicators? Look, I'll get to it. Charles, if you've got one more food replicator post in here, you and I are going to have a discussion, young man. Is there a general opinion on cryptids like Bigfoot, Dogman, the low pale crawlers, real or overly hybrid? Jose, that's, I am absolutely convinced that people see what they see. They witness what they witness. They talk about it with the friends. It was real. It was there. It was in front of them. And that is that. I cannot back up and go, that's psychosis. You're insane. Schizophrenia. You're making it up. You don't have any friends. You're trying to get attention. I don't look at things like that anymore like that. I just don't. There's too much going on when we're dealing with extra dimensions and parallel worlds and the multiverse and interdimensional possibilities of frequency of sound and light and physical things, and that things can be seen that are real that are just gone. So spectacular things. How do we know that in another version of this reality, which is occupying the same space, that there aren't creatures like Bigfoot running around, right? Dogmen running around, chupacabras, the flying terror. What? How do we know? And then when people see stuff like this and they talk about it and nobody else sees it and it's gone back into its interdimensional reality, we want to call those people crazy. And now they don't want to talk about it because they're going to be teased and ridiculed. They're going to sound like they're nuts. I totally get that, but they've seen what they have seen. I have seen stuff disappear. I've seen stuff appear and disappear right in front of me. And I used to be really freaked out about talking about that stuff. Now I don't give a crap. I just don't. It happens too much, and I think it's just part of our existence. We just have to live with it. But every single generation of humans on this planet has talked about the exact same things. This is nothing new. Nothing new. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, the hairy man, the wild man, the Yeti, the abominable snowman. It's been around for forever. Forever. When I say forever, like forever, since the dawn of man. So yeah, that's just my take. I don't dismiss any of it. What do you think of the 6-kilometer long forward spray on 3-Eye Atlas? Yeah, it's a puzzler, isn't it? It really is. I don't know. I really don't. Why don't you cover Alien Interview by Victor? Oh my God. That is the grail everyone cries about. You guys are sitting on it for some strange reason. No, we're not. The Alien Interview by Victor. Do you know who Victor is? I do. I know who Victor is. This ain't no top secret shit. Oh man. So I'm just gonna leave that right there. I could have Victor on this show again. What? Oh yeah, Victor's been on Fade to Black a few times. What do you make of that? Charles, I don't want to bum you out. I'm just saying, Victor has been on Fade to Black more than once. Not as Victor, as somebody else. What's Jimmy talking about? Skinny Bob is real, though. Skinny Bob is real. Thank you, Jimmy, for reading my questions. Charles, I read your questions 25 times tonight. And you are welcome, good sir. Replicated pizza. All right, extra half hour of overtime tonight. This is great. I'm nowhere near the end of this. I'm starting to get caught up in the chat, though. I'm at 9:21 in the chat, 9:29 on the clock. Kevin Knuth is my favorite. Let me pop this up. Kevin Knuth is my favorite scientist. He asks these fundamental questions. I like Kevin. I like Kevin. I like Kevin. Never met him. He's one. Actually, I can say that I've never met Kevin Knuth. He would be a fun conversation over a nice long dinner. I like Kevin. I think he's pretty straightforward. I mean, from what I've seen, I've never met him. Okay, let's see here. Android is on fire tonight. I only allow one question, but what do you make of some abduction or encounter cases telling humans their future? That's an easy thing. I mean, well, specifically their future to individuals or the future to mankind. But you got to remember, we were just talking about time, space-time, and time dilation and the other things that can occur out there at different speeds and how you're doing it and what type of craft you're on and you're zipping around. What if you got to look at it this way? All right. What if it's really super simple to view anything, anytime. I mean, just like this. Okay, let me see Earth time in the year 3200. I need the news stories for January 1st. But, and there it is. Signals, waves, space, bent. That how do we not know that is possible? Bashar says it, the past, present, and future are all at once. It's all happening at the same time. And a lot of people talk about it, and so do physicists, that being a possibility. Relativity and certain parts of physics make going backwards in time very difficult, still possible, but very difficult. But what about seeing the past? Not actually physically going there. What about that? What if everything is just captured in, like rings on a tree? Everything is just captured in your. And what if in advance? I am sure that we will be able to do that someday. And so, yeah, having ET disclose something like that to an individual because they knew that maybe that individual's actions today mean a lot in the future. And so they're talking about Bob Smith. Bob Smith, man, he really got it down, man, back in 2024. And ET shows up here and says, hey, so this is what goes down in your life. There's that. And then there is the entire big picture of history. Yeah, it's always something that is very compelling. And if somebody if we from the future came back and like sent us a message, right? Like we get a video from that's been hoaxed a million times. But what I'm saying is this: what if suddenly, right? We all get an email blast from the future with a video, and it's like from 1 billion years in the future, and it's us, and going, this is how it ends. You're going to have a few million years of good times, but dude, it gets rough. And I'm here to tell you, I'm 1 billion years in the future, and I'm using everything that I've got to get this message to you. It's all of our tech, but you're getting this message. And look, I have nothing really special to say, but the future sucks. So, just party, because from where I sit, it's not going to get better. It's like, I mean, what if that actually happened, right? Us from the future with a message, and it wouldn't be the message that we talk about. How do you have time to watch so many movies and shows with everything that you do? It's called this and an iPad. I spend so much time on airplanes. I'm watching a movie when I get to my hotels. I've got the iPad there, and and I've got everything that I need to watch is there, and I stay on top of it. I don't want to be bored. I'm reading and I'm studying with what I'm working on, traveling. But I'm able to squeeze in little bursts of time. At night, I have to unwind. I just explained that at the beginning of the show. So I'm doing something like that every single night. And I don't watch everything, but when I lock onto something, I tend to how do I say this? I'll wait till the entire season is out. I won't watch single episodes week to week to week because I won't remember it. I definitely don't have that kind of time. But once it's in a complete thing, then I will burst it out and get it done. Yeah, I don't watch as many movies as you think. Right? I've watched 2 movies in the last couple of weeks. I just watched Fantastic Four, and I just watched man, it was a great movie too. It's like from Sweden. Watch the Skies. Check that out. It's dubbed, but it's a good dub. At first, you don't even notice that. So they took great care into getting English to fit into the Swedish lip movement. Watch the skies. Yeah, watch that. It's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let's see. Let's wrap this up. Who did I like best, Roth or Hagar? Roth. Um, to me, it's not even close, but that isn't to say that Sammy's stuff with the band, most of it was absolutely great. But the Roth era of Van Halen, that was a singular event in history. Man, you got Elvis, you got the Beatles, you got Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, Black Sabbath, Van Halen with Roth. Is that Sinatra, right? Beethoven, Bach, right? I mean, Strauss, right? Van Halen with Roth was that great. Ginormous. Sammy, if Sammy would have came out in the original version of Van Halen might not have clicked. Man, it was Roth that brought the circus to that, and it was great stuff. But the Roth, I can't put it into words. But then you go look, listen to 5150. Listen to that. Hot Summer Nights, Sammy Hagar, Love Walks In, Hagar. Oh, man. Why can't this be love? All right. Oh, man, it's just so good. OU 812, Balance, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. What was the one with the dude from Extreme? Was that Van Halen 3? But Roth. I mean, there's just, that was just such a huge band. Bring Victor on with Jon Stewart, who is investigating it. You ghosted him from what I heard. Either way, who? I ghosted him. Ghosted who? You ghosted him from what I heard. I don't know who Jon Stewart is. So kind of hard to ghost somebody that I don't know. Here, I'll pop this up. This is Charles. Charles says, bring Victor on with Jon Stewart. Why? Why? With Jon Stewart, who is investigating it? You ghosted him from what I heard. Oh, my God. I don't know who Jon Stewart is or yeah, I don't know. Charles, love you, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. So, look, when people make stuff up about you, it makes you feel pretty good. It does. It does. Look, Ma, they know they're making shit up. They know me. They know who I am. I could have been a contender. I don't know who Jon Stewart is. Never heard of him. Who is Victor? Tell us. Man, those on the inside that know the story, it's hysterical. It's hysterical. It's not what you think, man. It's not what you think. It's simply not what you think. Yeah, Victor's been on this show. Yeah, a few times. Who is Victor? Please tell us. Man, if you don't know by now, then you need to. Fantastic Four. Wow. Nice, Jimmy. You know what, though? It started off okay, but there was some lazy writing in when do you usually play your electric guitars? I play in my living room, in my bed. You go upstairs. I have two things in my bed. I have a mini guitar, a mini Strat, or it's a Paul Gilbert mini Ibanez. That's lying on a pillow next to some armor. I'll just say that stays on my bed. And so I spent right there, boom, down a little mini guitar and watching what I am, play. In my living room, I've got a couple of mini guitars and some other stuff, and a practice amp that all stays out there. Then in here, you can see right there, there's a Marshall amp. Right there, if you look really close, you'll see a microphone stand next to it. Right here, can you see this? No, you can't. Can I hold it up? Let me see with the cables. I might not be able to. Is a drum machine that plays bass lines right here. And all of this is wired into the console. So all I have to do, and I've got songs pre-programmed, hit play. I've got bass and drums coming through these speakers. The guitar amp down there is mic'd in, and all I have to do is just pull something off of this wall. And man, lately, I've been playing a couple of things. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked on guitars, but that's all I got to do, man. Guitar cables right there, just hanging, just plug in, play, boom, and I could sit here forever and just play guitar. Yeah. Lately, I'll tell you what I tell you, this thing right here, all of these Explorers are nice, right? I think I have like 5 or 6 right here. This is a custom shop. Look at that. Take a really good look. This is a one of a kind. And this thing plays like butter. And it's just so, and there's something about an Explorer. And so this one, for some reason, I haven't been able to put it down lately. I really, this is a fun guitar to play. It's not my normal choice, but man, it's the neck, it's everything else. But look at that. Isn't that the most beautiful? Look at that. Isn't that insane? It's the only one like it in the world. So there you go. Chrome top hats from the factory. Yeah. Okay. You know, and what's weird about that guitar, that's got binding on it. Well, these two over here do too as well. This one doesn't. Anyway, yeah. Man, look at this. All right. Yeah, an extra hour. An extra hour. Do you play drums too? No. Can I be very clear? Can I just be the most obnoxious, un-PC person in the world? I am white. I don't know why. I could never. I have a drum set right down the hall. I've got a really nice rehearsal room. It's great. Drum set sitting in there, bass amp, guitar amps. It's just sitting. And I sit behind that drum set, and I am the most untalented drummer possible. It's hilarious. I can hear it. I can't play it. I can't do this. I do this. I'm not making it up, man. Oh man, it's bad, man. It's bad. And I've tried. I've sat in there and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna get this figured out. Nope. Jimmy, is Whitley Strieber Victor? No. Whitley Strieber would never do anything like that. You guys, if you want to know who Victor is, just go and jump down the rabbit hole. You'll figure it out. I'm not a shit talker. I'm not here to break hearts. Let's see. I play everything. I've got my own studio. Yeah, that's the same button and everything. I play bass, acoustic, and electric guitar. I can only play hand drums, barely. Yeah, see, you get it. You understand what I'm saying. You play, oh, man. Come on, at least look, quit crying. I'm going to tell you, quit crying and figure it out. Quit crying and figure it out. Go figure it out. Quit crying about it. You want me to do the work for you? Quit crying about it. Go figure it out. You can do it. Victor's David Wilcock. No. David's not that smart or that talented. So there you go, everybody. What a great night. What a great night. Let's hear it for River Moon Coffee. So much fun hanging out with all of you. And I've said it a million times. This is such a favorite thing and moment, a point that I look forward to every single month, where I just get to sit in here and let it all hang out. It is something that I need to do, not only because it's fun to do, but we're friends. This gives me an opportunity. We're just having a party, and we get to hang out, and I just have a great time doing it. Now it is my Friday. I'm going to go and watch. What am I watching at the moment? I don't even know. I don't think I'm locked in on anything right now. No, I never watched the end of Foundation. I've been meaning to circle back and finish that up. I haven't done that yet. There's a few loose ends there that I haven't tightened up. There are a few movies that I would like to watch. So I'll figure something out. But right now I'm going to go cook, and I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go look at the comets in the sky, and gear up for another weekend. I haven't ridden my Harleys now for 2 or 3 days. I've been busy doing other stuff. And I really want to get to this weekend where I can have some solo time on the bikes and get out there and let my head unwind a little bit and get ready next week. Oh, shit. I almost forgot. All right. I've got good news and bad news. We only have Fade to Black on Monday. This week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I've got to film Beyond Belief. Yeah, that's the way that the schedule worked out. So there is no Fade to Black. We'll have Fade to Black on Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off air. I'll talk to Michelle and see if we can line up maybe a Fade to Black for Friday night and do a special thing. If we don't pull that off, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, no shows next week. We have a show on Monday, but nothing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've got to go and tape Beyond Belief and keep that thing moving along. All right. So everybody, enjoy your weekend. Have a great, safe, fun, and amazing time. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you for hanging out tonight with this AMA, and I hope you learned a little something about Egypt. So with that, all I've got is go Beckley Teppy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Beckley Teppy.